Good evening, I'm Camelia and this is KiniNews. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said that the government does not have a quick implementation for targeted petrol subsidies. He said they want to monitor the impacts of recently introduced targeted subsidies first.
Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said the government has yet to finalise its subsidy rationalisation plan for RON95 petrol. Speaking at the Dewan Rakyat this morning, Anwar said the government still does not have a policy paper for quick implementation of targeted petrol subsidies. He added that the government is studying the effects of various subsidy-related measures that had been taken before deciding on the need for petrol subsidy rationalisation.
Ada kajian daripada dulu, ada, tetapi kita fikir lebih baiklah kita lihat dulu langkah-langkah yang diambil, kena elektrik, ayam, penyasaran diesel, itu 3 dibuat tahun ini dan tahun lalu. Kita tengok kesannya dulu dan bagaimana tentang reaksi rakyat. Kemudian barulah kita bersedia berunding apakah keperluan.
He was replying to a supplementary question from Perikatan Nasional's Pasir Mas MP Ahmad Fadli bin Shari, who wanted to know the government's decision on whether to implement targeted RON95 petrol subsidies.
Fadillah Yusof has not responded to the issue of allocations for opposition MPs. When asked for comments yesterday, this was what he had to say.
Deputy Prime Minister Fadillah Yusof has refused to comment on the issue of allocations for opposition MPs, as raised by Muar MP Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman. When asked by reporters yesterday, he said, "Wait for me to run first." He was believed to be referring to Saddiq running 200 kilometers to protest the government for not channeling allocations to opposition MPs. Saddiq started his marathon campaign, dumped Langkah Muar, at 6:30 a.m. last Friday, and ended at Parliament at around 9:30 a.m. yesterday. He had claimed that he had raised 160,000 ringgit in donations from more than 2,000 online and offline contributors throughout the run. In April, Fadillah reportedly said that a draft memorandum of understanding related to the distribution of allocations to opposition members of Parliament was being finalised. Once the draft is ready, the Deputy Prime Minister said it will be submitted to all political parties in the government and opposition for their respective approvals.
Lawyers for Liberty responded to the government's move to remove the barrier for high-achieving non-Malay students to further their studies in matriculation programs. Zaid Malik said the announcement had ignored the main question in the issue.
Lawyers for Liberty said the government's removal of the barrier for high-achieving non-Malay students to further their studies in matriculation programs is meaningless as long as the 90% quota for Bumiputra is still in place. The group's director, Zaid Malik, said this is because the quota system disregards the rights of the non-Bumiputra to education as guaranteed under Article 153 of the Federal Constitution. He said the big question that was not addressed is the obvious disproportionate quota for matriculation enrollment between Bumiputra and non-Malay students. He stated that the disproportion is unconstitutional and contrary to Article 153 of the Constitution, as has been repeatedly pointed out by legal experts and ignored by successive governments. Zaid said this in response to Anwar's announcement on Sunday that students from all races who score 10 A's and above in SPM will be given the opportunity to join matriculation programs. Elaborating, Zaid said Anwar's announcement on Sunday is not progressive as it is touted to be, and he is uncertain how it could improve the unjust quota system that exists. He further alleged that Anwar's announcement leaves non-Bumiputra students who score 7, 8 or 9 A's in their SPM out in the cold. He said if the government truly strives for fairness in education, it must first acknowledge that the current quota system in matriculation program enrollment is unreasonable, disproportionate and unconstitutional, then review it.
If you'd like access to news like this and more, subscribe now to Malaysia Kini and support independent media. Lim Kitang has slammed an author's claim against him and several DAP leaders. He denied the claims, saying they were hogwash. DAP veteran Lim Kitang has dismissed author Roman Bose's claims that the former tried to rebuild the Chinese population during the Pakatan Harapan administration in 2018. In a statement today, Lim said Najib Abdul Razak's former political consultant, Bose, was writing hogwash This was over Bose's claim that Lim was trying to rebuild the Chinese population during the Harapan administration and had been quite successful. Lim said he had not read Bose's latest book, but he should not be pulling things from thin air. In his book, Shattered Hopes, launched last month, Bose had claimed that the special branch monitored several DAP leaders, including Lim, stating that they were keen to rebuild the Chinese population. Bose also alleged that then Inspector General of Police Abdul Hamid Bador often visited Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who was Prime Minister at the time, to keep him updated on Harapan leaders' activities. On June 24th, The Star reported that DAP's Secretary General Anthony Loke had dismissed Bose's claims, calling it rubbish. PAS youth accused Harapan of playing up racial sentiments yesterday. This was over a Harapan banner with Chinese text calling on voters to reject Green Wave and defend Sungai Bakap. Penang PAS youth has accused Pakatan Harapan of playing up racial sentiments. In a video on TikTok, its Deputy Chief Muhammad Hafiz Alias showed a Harapan banner that said Unity for Sungai Bakap in Malay and Tamil. However, he said the Chinese text reads, "Reject the Green Wave, defend Sungai Bakap." He then questioned who is playing up racial sentiment here, whether it was Perikatan Nasional or Harapan. The Green Wave is a term used to describe the increased support for Perikatan Nasional, particularly PAS, in the 15 general election. PAS President Abdul Hadi Awang had previously said that the term encourages Islamophobia and spooks non-Muslims. Hadi had urged party members to curb the Green Wave narrative. More recently, however, PAS spiritual leader Hashim Jassin appears to have embraced the term. Hashim had said that the government would have a tough time stopping the Green Wave at Sungai Bakap. Amanah has begun lobbying for the Kuala Kangsar and Bukit Gantang seats. The seats are held by former Bersatu MPs. Bersatu had recently announced the automatic termination of their membership. Lobbying has begun for the seats held by former Bersatu lawmakers who had voiced their support for Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim administration. This is despite Dewan Rakyat Speaker Johari Abdul not having announced the vacancy of the seats. In a statement today, Perak Amanah Youth Chief Khairul Najib Hashim said the party is willing to shoulder the heavy burden of seizing the two parliamentary seats involved in the state, namely Kuala Kangsar and Bukit Gantang. He said apart from contributing a candidate, Amanah is also prepared to mobilize its machinery to ensure a victory for the government candidate. Previously, UMNO Youth had also said that it was prepared to seize the 6 parliamentary seats which faced the same predicament, including Kuala Kangsar and Bukit Gantang. Johari had recently confirmed receiving seat vacancy notifications regarding 6 Bersatu MPs under Article 49A of the Federal Constitution from Bersatu Chief Whip Ronald Kiandi. This came after Bersatu recently announced the automatic termination of 6 of its representatives after they failed to provide satisfactory answers to a notice to affirm their loyalty to the party. That is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to Kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.